TYR and Wodapalooza are excited to bring to the world a competition that's the first of its kind. Introducing the TYR Cup. TYR Wodapalooza is expanding the celebration from Miami all the way to SoCal. The TYR Cup's home will be none other than the iconic Huntington Beach. The TYR Cup is a 3-day head-to-head team matchup of athletes proudly repping their nationality and region, North America versus the world. Big teams means big prizes. In the inaugural year, the winning team will take home a whopping $160K, with the runners-up receiving $40K and a $10K cash prize for the single MVP of the weekend, propelling their team to victory. How do teams work? Teams are comprised of the best athletes in the world, 4 men and 4 women per squad, with a male and female captain. Adding to the excitement, captains get to pick their 4th and final male and female teammates. The TYR Cup events close out each day of competition and feature the following unique fitness test types. Individual. All athletes from all teams compete in the same workout against each other in same-gendered heats. All hands. This test finds all 8 athletes working together in some form or fashion, whether relay style at the same time or in a team-style metcon. Spotlight. Teams nominate 1 male and 1 female based on specific skill sets, including a strength test, a gymnastics test, and a monostructural test. Miami team. 3 guys and 3 girls perform separate workouts each, with 1 male and 1 female sitting out. CrossFit Games team. This brings together teams of 2 men and 2 women with 2 different workouts. Captains. This event has team captains take the stage and will make up the final event of the weekend. Teams will strategize to put their best athletes on the floor, depending on the event and their strengths, to represent their squad. Teams gain a point per event win, with the team with the most event victories at the end of the weekend taking home the hardware. Who will be the inaugural TYR Cup champions? Find out for yourself. Huntington Beach, September 20th through the 22nd. Be there.
All right. TYR Cup is coming up in less than a month. And today actually is starting our off-season tour for B.Friendly Fitness. The TYR Cup will be the 4th stop on the tour. And throughout this summer, you guys have had a chance to see the development and the rollout of some of the teammates and format for the competition through shows on Talking Elite Fitness and Coffee Pods and Wads. Barbell Spin and Get With The Programming will also be jumping in to help with that in the next couple of weeks leading up to the competition. And our role today is basically going to be rounding out the teams. So some of the athletes have been announced prior to the games, and then the captain's voting period was open for you guys. So we're going to announce the captains today. We do have a couple of them who will be joining us, and then we'll also fill in their captain's picks. And in a few situations, some of the team members have changed. So we'll bring you basically up to date on what those entire rosters look like. We may have a representative from the world team joining us at some point, but we do have both of the captains for what?
Let's go ahead and announce the male captain first.
Yes,
and
yes,
then bring
yes.
him on. Right. So,
Yeah.
So the North American men's captain by your vote is none other than
Patrick Vellner. As you guys see there, 10 times games athlete, 1 time on a team, 9 individuals, 5 times on the podiums, 3-time champ of Wodapalooza, and an average games finish that ranks amongst the best of all time. Patrick, welcome to the show. PC. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Mr. Vellner. Good morning.
Guys. Good morning.
Were you surprised to get selected as the male captain for this team? I mean, it's a pretty stout group of 3 that they were choosing from.
Yeah, I'm the only guy of that bunch that hasn't won the games. So at least I have this that I can hang over them. So, you know.
I haven't ran the numbers, but you might still also have the highest average finish amongst the 3. It'd be probably close between you and Justin.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's like I think any of us would have been great. That's the whole point of these teams too, is that everybody that's on these rosters is very strong, and I think would be great. So I'm happy to. Actually, you know what? It's fun to be the captain, and then I realized shortly after that I have to do the captain's challenge.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, shit, like I better get back in shape here. I haven't done a whole lot since the games, and I I got to start taking that seriously because I'm sure the world captains aren't going to be slouches. But yeah, I'm pumped to be leading those boys, and I think it's nice to have those assets at your disposal now too. I don't have to worry about. It's the fun thing about team. I don't have to resent Jeff for how good he is at running or weightlifting, and I don't have to be annoyed at Justin for all of his strengths. So you get to use them, and I get to team up with those guys. So, and I've teamed up with Jeff before, and never Justin, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Before we unveil your captain's pick, we're gonna go ahead and bring one of your teammates on, the female captain, and we'll go ahead and introduce her. And for the female, for North America, for the Tier Cup is
Danielle Brandon.
Dee.
Yeah.
Yes.
6 times games athlete, semifinal champion back in 2022, 3-time semifinal podium finisher, average games finish 9.3 inside the top 10 pretty much every year she competes there. And I don't know where you're on some beach, Danielle?
I am. Yeah, I'm at the beach right now in Santa Rosa, Florida.
Getting
in
acclimated for Huntington Beach.
Exactly.
Exactly. This is
Yeah.
training. This is
Yeah,
training.
this is
for that.
training. That's training.
She messaged us, Patrick, earlier today. She said, "I just in case Vellner ends up being the male captain, I have to make sure to balance out the tan situation."
Exactly.
I don't think any of the men are really holding it down on that side for us. So you're gonna have to carry the whole team.
Yeah, somebody's gotta look good out there, like they belong in California.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you for that.
Hey,
Good. Well,
DB,
it's nice
It's
to
not
see
us.
something.
It's not us.
DB, can you explain what an honor it is to be voted as a captain by the fans?
I think it's more of an honor just because of the people that I was up against. I know, like, Ariel, like, people love her, and I think she would have made a great captain as well. I think it's cool to be in this position, but also, as much as being a captain is great, it was our team pick was like just that, like a team pick. I think I'm more just like a voice for my team in picking, but we all work together, you know. I think it's cool to be in this position, but I don't know, it's a team thing. So
Well, and that's where we're going to go next, because for the North America roster, all of the athletes who were announced prior to the games are still slated to compete, and therefore there was one remaining spot on both the men's and women's side. And as the captain's choices, you guys did have the option to make that pick on your own, work with your team, or do it by some other method. PC, you tell us which one we're going to start with, male or female.
Well, let's start with. Oh no. Well, I'll let the captains decide who wants to unveil their pick first.
Danielle, ladies first.
sure, yeah, we'll do
Okay.
ladies first.
Yeah,
Right.
but before you start, let's go ahead. 1 second. Sorry, I'm doing so many things here. But yeah, go ahead and announce your pick for the women
Ooh.
North American West or North American Tier Cup.
Yeah, our North American Tier Cup lady that we chose is Emily Rolfe.
And Emily,
Wow, look at that cute picture.
great picture of Emily there, and obviously a great performance a couple weeks ago by her. 3rd place at the games this year. It's her best games finish. She's a 5 times games athlete. She's got several event wins at the games. And I think that, in terms of a competition where you do get to lean into some different strengths of particular athletes, this pick makes a lot of sense.
Glad you agree.
Well, was that something that you guys had, you mentioned you talked with Alexis and Ariel about it. Was that something you guys had kind of talked about in this process?
Yeah, I think we definitely, and even with Pat a lot, like really talking about how team typically works, and I think Pat more than I had a lot of great input on that. of where you do get to lean into those like strengths. And I think Emily does have like some really great strengths, like machine work, right? She's a great engine, like, and she's a great all arounder outside of that. And so, yeah, I mean, she was a great pick. Like it was, we had a couple girls, but Emily is it. Emily is for us.
Well, and that's, I mean, that's definitely the case in, in North America for sure, where there's several different athletes that you certainly could have picked from. I was happy to see that she was chosen. It was kind of unique. Like Loud and Live made their picks prior to the games, and maybe if they had a
Right.
chance to do it afterwards, they might have looked at something differently. You guys didn't. You guys could actually look at that and kind of see and potentially do something like this and reward someone who had a career season.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great point.
Plus, we got to have a Canadian woman there, you know?
I was about to say that. Like, got to balance it out, I guess. I mean, it's not really balanced, but I mean,
Yeah, it's North America.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, it's balanced.
Pat,
Well,
the whispers on the men's side is that you kind of left it up to them to some extent.
Yeah. So what we did on the men's side is I narrowed the picks down pretty quickly to two men. And then we spoke a bunch about it, and it was like, depending on how the programming lied or how, what side of the bed I woke up on that day, I could flip flop between the two like every 10 minutes, right? It was just like, I really couldn't decide. So I talked to the crew at Loud and Live, and I basically said, like, hey, is there any chance we can let them play for it at the games and see if they're willing to do it and sing for their supper a little bit? Would you be willing to let the best finisher of the two of them at the games, like, let that feed into the pick and just be like, winner takes all, winner gets the pick? And they were down for it, and both the guys were down for it. So that's what we did. And so the winner at the games of the two of them took the spot, and that was, should I announce it?
yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely.
And that was my son, Dallin Pepper.
Yes.
And Dallin Pepper, yeah, absolutely. And I think upon the first three announcements, like this is a name that probably came to mind for a lot of people that could have easily been a person to round out the team for the North America men. Obviously, he finished second this year at the games, coming off of fifth place the previous year. He has 3 teenage championships at the games. His resume is extremely good, and maybe as good as anyone's by his age, other than maybe I think Justin Medeiros at that time. So a great pick, and I think it's okay if you want to say it, but he narrowly earned the spot.
Yeah, so the other men's choice, which probably won't surprise a lot of people, was Brent Fikowski. And so, I mean, on paper, they're very similar athletes, and so it was really hard to make any difference between them. So, by the last day and the last event, they were very, very close all weekend in the games, and it was like everything to play for, even by the last event. And so Dallin had a huge performance in that last two events, and took the win away from Brent and earned the spot. So, hey, look, something to be said about performing under pressure, and we need that. So I I don't hate it. I think Dallin's gonna be awesome. Look, I don't have to even look or think about an Echo bike all week. It's like, the better those guys are, the less I have to worry about. So it makes my job pretty easy. And I mean, now that the selections are done, the hard part's over for us as far as I'm concerned.
DB, what do you think of the pick? You're familiar with Dallin.
Oh yeah. I love it. I think it was, when we were like talking about who to pick, I tried my best not to favor Dallin, of course, but it was wild to like look at how similar they were. Like, I think that was like really weird when you like really sit down and look at them, because they're both like great on machines, like, and they both have similar strengths, similar weaknesses. But yeah, I think leaving up to the games was perfect, and I think we couldn't have gone wrong with either pick. So I think it was smart to leave it up to the games.
It's nice
Yeah,
too.
and
I mean, we add a little bit of, we get a little bit of youth on the men's side there too, which is good. And we get like having bridges like that. Like Dallin's trained a lot with Danielle, and that's awesome, right? Like I think it's
Yeah.
teamwork, and knowing those people will work well together and get along goes a long way. So those kinds of things are awesome. I mean, I've worked with Brent on teams before, and he would have been great, but you know, like Danielle said, there really wasn't a bad option, and so
Yeah.
it was effectively a coin toss, and so we left it up to them, and that's how we ended up. So we're pumped to have Dallin on the team. It'll be awesome. Plus, he'll bring a lot of trash talk and a lot of good energy, which we need too.
Hopefully.
well,
What's
I
like an
don't think
overall?
there's a shortage of that on the men's side of North America. You guys are all pretty stout when it comes to getting in each other's heads if you want to.
Let's kind of
What a
break
great
down
list.
the men's picks here. I mean, Patrick, you're the captain. You mentioned Jeff, Justin, and Dallin. I mean, DB, look on, with Pat's with that team on the men's side. Are you pretty confident that they're going to hold their weight?
Yeah, I think it's a great team. Like that's a great list of names together. I mean, yeah, I don't doubt him at all. Looks awesome.
But Pat, you said when you came on that you're the only one without a game champion. Is that another reason why you picked Dallin too? So when you balance out.
I don't think there's any other active men in the field with a games win. So, well, now James, but yeah, exactly. I couldn't pick James because then I'd be the only one. So I needed some solidarity on the winless side.
Well,
Yes.
that's 10, I believe, 10 CrossFit Games podiums between those four guys.
Wow.
Clearly, the well-roundedness of the team is exceptional, and each one has their own strengths. I mean, we'll get to the world men's roster in a little while, but like these four guys could go up against any four guys, and it would be tough to beat in isolation.
Unless it was handstand push-ups.
This is true.
Just hang on.
Jeff better be feeling fit if that's the case.
Oh no. No, it's great. That's good. Good to
Yeah,
know.
really solid men's side for North America there. Let's take a look at the women's side here. Wow.
Love
DB.
it. He looks great. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And like, oh my gosh, good people, good athletes. I'm excited to hang
I
out
like
with
the
them.
way the names funnel down too into a V. I like
Oh
that.
yeah, I did that. On purpose. Solid. I guess a lot of people so far in the comments agree. I mean, DB, it's a captain, but you said it's more of a teamwork thing. So, I mean, are you going to? I mean, yeah, hopefully. I mean, do you foresee any disagreements or anything like that? If there is, I mean, is that something you're going to defer to the guys, or are you just going to fight it out amongst yourselves?
No, I think like, I will say when me and Ariel were on a team for the Fit Fest, I think we barely won. And I will not say that we had the best strategies the whole weekend at all. I think we actually had one of the worst every time and we just barely made it through. So I think it'll be nice to have Pat, even Dallin a little bit. I think they'll be much more in tune with team strategies. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more help there because I'm not sure anyone on my team has great team experience.
Well, and the one thing about this group of women is they're all capable of winning events. Between the four of you, there are 11 event wins at the games. Every one of these four has at least one win in their career. You and Emily both having 4. So depending on how these workouts shake out, you're going to be putting up not just good overall athletes, but potentially specialists in a lot of different areas.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be pretty easy to decide who goes there. And even if it's not, I think, like you said, we have some of the best people in different areas. So like whoever does go, it's going to be a good pick. Like we're not going to have a bad pick for anything. And I think same on the men's side, like there's not a bad pick for anything.
Sometimes the hard part on the humility is hard to get over sometimes with team stuff like this, with spotlight events. Like, oh, everybody's pretty humble about like I'm not sure if I'm the best pick sometimes. So sometimes you just need someone to be like, no, like Danielle, you beat me in handstand walks every time we do it. Like you got to go. Like it's not this one's for you. This is whatever. Like sometimes it takes some, which I think by committee, we should be able to come up to the best decisions. But yeah, you got to remind people sometimes that they're really good at stuff. And when you have a room full
Yeah.
of people that are all the best at the sport, it's it sometimes makes it hard to decide. But I think we'll do all right.
Well,
Well,
we have had the honor of having both the captains here for Team North America. And before we let you guys go, we did
Oh.
want to take an opportunity to introduce you to one of the world captains, your opponents, who's joined us here. And first time guest at B.Friendly Fitness, though will not be a first time or an unfamiliar face for any of you. PC?
yep. So with the captain of the women's for the world's team, drum roll, I guess.
Oh no!
Shocker.
I
Be
didn't
clear
vote for
to
it.
me. As you guys know, coming off yet another CrossFit Games win 7 times now in her career, the most of any athlete, male or female. She is a past champion at Wodapalooza, and she's also been able to represent her country in the Olympics. Average game finish of 1.2, which is likely to never be touched for the number of career appearances she's had there. And Tia, thanks for taking a few minutes with us to jump on this morning.
Yeah, but how
Yeah,
many
hey
event
guys,
wins
how
did
are
she
you?
have?
How many event wins? She has one less than 6 times as many as you. And you are tied for third all time amongst the men, so it's pretty good.
All right, not bad.
How are we?
Tia, we're doing great. We just had a chance to go through the North American roster with Pat and Danielle, and
Oh,
we're
yes,
looking
yeah.
forward to revealing the world roster with you.
Yes, absolutely. Is my camera and everything? I'm on, right?
We can see you and hear you. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, that's the main thing. How is everyone? Good.
Great.
Yeah, we're
Feeling
doing
confident.
great.
Feeling
I think
super confident.
DB's doing the best. DB's probably doing the best of all of us right now.
Yeah, she's at the beach.
So, Tia, can you talk about the? I mean, we've asked Patrick and Danielle, like can you know, being a team captain, it was something that is voted upon by fans. Can you talk about like how special that means to be like having the fans vote you to be a captain of the women for the world?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was really honored and honestly, like, didn't expect it at all because we have such great athletes and, characters in our team. So it's definitely a little bit of pressure also going in. I want to obviously represent the world to the best of our ability. And I definitely feel confident with the athletes that we have on the roster. But yeah, we're gonna give it our absolute best for sure, and make these guys give them a run for their money.
DB, Pat, do you have any advice for Tia as a captain of a team?
I heard it was your idea that we not be included in the world. Is that true?
The Canadians.
Wait, my idea?
Look, it's what people are saying.
Pat, stop talking shit, mate.
This is why we need you guys mic'd up in the back during the competition in Huntington Beach.
This will be a good chance to do it. I think it'd be a fun time to do some stuff like that.
Definitely.
Yeah, Pat just wishes he was on my team. That's all.
Like, I'm just saying, like you're making political enemies here.
Wouldn't be the first.
No.
DB, knowing that there's a captain's challenge or a captain's workout, what are you hoping for, Tia? What are you hoping for to go against each other? What workout? What would you like to see? Daniel, go ahead, lead off with this.
I think maybe like, did you say Danielle? Sorry, am I interrupting?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, I think maybe like a fun one. I think there was a quarterfinals like high burpee box jump like power snatch workout, and I think Tia and I were really close in that. I think I actually got her by like a second, so I think maybe like a workout like that could be like pretty fun, like a power snatch, moderate, heavy. I think it'd be like a good race. It'd be cool.
Was that the workout that was back in 2022 or 21?
I think it was 2022.
Yeah,
And it
I
was
think
yeah, and it was like high. It was like 30 inches.
that
with
was
like
a good work. Yeah,
yeah,
that
like
was fun.
that was a fun workout. And then
Yeah.
like they kind of kept like making mock-ups of that workout because that was the first year of quarterfinals, I think. Um, I believe so.
So-
But I think that
so
like, that
now
workout was really fun.
I'm gonna have to
What was
start
that?
doing high box jumps and power snatches now, just in case.
Me too.
Yeah, is there a particular workout you like to see for the Captain's Challenge? Something that you would like? I mean, DB picked something that you guys were close at, but I mean, would you pick something that you think you could beat DB in, or something where it'd be more of a fun race for the fans?
Yeah, I definitely think like the fun race for the fans is what everyone wants, like, and also it's what the athletes like. Like no one wants to see something that, someone just runs away with and there's like no battle whatsoever. So, me and Danielle going up against each other in a handstand walk probably is not going to be the most exciting.
Yeah.
But like definitely like a race where it's like, where we're going head to head, it's anyone's, and also that it's like fast, sharp. Like, I mean, if we think back to like the clean ladder at the games this year and every other year prior to that, that has definitely been a workout where it gets the crowd going, it makes the athletes excited, and like the adrenaline, it could be anyone, right? So like that speed, that adrenaline, the fastness, it just, the athletes just have to go, and there's really no thinking either. That's a lot more enjoyable for athletes. We want to see a race, and especially this teaming up in September with all the athletes, like it's just going to be so much fun, and everyone's going to really dig deep because we're a part of a team, and we want to do well for each other.
Part of the show was obviously announcing the captains, and obviously Patrick and DB were selected by captains for North America, but they were also part of being a captain is picking your final teammate for your particular, for the women's captain picks for the another women's teammate. DB, who did you pick again? Can you tell Tia who you picked?
Emily Rolfs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And Pat, do you want to tell Tia who you picked?
Not really. I picked young Dallin Pepper.
Insecurities coming from your direction.
Yeah, look. You can read it as insecurity.
Well, Tia, now that you know their selection, do you want to unveil your selection for your final women on the world team?
Don't let friggin' Pat just get away with it.
I told you. I picked Dallin Pepper.
Nice.
My clone. The younger, better version of me. The
Hey,
2.0.
don't you want variety?
2.0. That's what we're gonna call him.
2.0.
He did get second.
We had a lot of great athletes to choose from the world side. So, but at the end of the day, we ended up choosing Grace Walton. So very excited about that. This girl can move the machines incredibly,
Australia.
and I'm very excited that she's going to be a part of the team.
Yeah, she absolutely can. She got an event win as a rookie this year at the CrossFit Games. She won the semifinal down there at Torium Pro, and she's been, on the rise. I think it's also cool, Tia, you and Cara kind of have paved this way, and now there's a bunch of young athletes in the Oceania region that are coming up. Can you just speak to kind of not just Grace, but also some of the other young athletes coming up there and what that means to you?
Oh, absolutely. I think when I very first started CrossFit, especially in Australia, there wasn't a whole lot of opportunities to create revenue, be sponsored. The brands within CrossFit were quite young themselves. And so it wasn't really until I actually started moving over to the States, I was a lot more accessible to brands where, sponsorship was a reality, and the fact of trying to be an elite athlete in the CrossFit space full time was a possibility. And so now you're seeing these younger athletes, they're actually able to lean on brands worldwide, but also in Australia to actually pursue their career in CrossFit. And that's really great to see, because it is hard to obviously juggle a job, and, people out there are doing it. And if you really want to double down and actually become a professional CrossFit athlete, sponsorship can really help that. So to see, Gracie, to see so many other athletes pursuing their dream of becoming a CrossFit athlete is really, really exciting. And I think it just goes to show the potential of our sport, and, what we athletes are trying to fight for, and what we're trying to accomplish. And, we want to see this sport grow. I know I definitely do. I've devoted so much time and energy into it. So have the other athletes here on this call. And, even yourselves to an extent, right? You created a company and a business within this sport that, you're generating media and trying to grow the sport itself. So it's just really great to see that side of things, and that, we're constantly trying to evolve and evolve for the better.
Yeah, well said. Thanks for sharing that. And so now we do know the 4 women on the world roster. We're going to remind you guys of that there. So joining the 2 Australians, in Tia and Gracie, we have Seher Kaya out of Turkey and Emma Tall from Sweden. DB, when you take a look at the women here that you're going to have to go against, what are kind of some of your first thoughts?
I mean, obviously they have Tia. I think that's great. That's great for that team. Looking at our team, I think we have a more well-rounded team, but that's not to say that they don't have some strong people on their team. I think they have some really respectable people. Emma Tall is like a monster. She kind of scares me, but I like our team. I like our team. I like the look of our team. I think ours flows better on paper. I think it looks better. But yeah, it's cool. I'm excited to go up against them. I think it's cool to see some names, Sahir and Gracie. I think they're very young in the sport, and I think it's cool, and it's also weird, I think, being older and like seeing some young people in there. But again, like, it's so good for the sport, and I think people will really enjoy watching that team. I think especially Gracie, it seems like she has a lot of fans. A lot of people are excited to see her. And it's cool. She's from Australia. Yeah, it's a cool team. I like it.
Tia, do you think that's a fair assessment?
I mean, yeah, she makes some good points. I I think we're gonna definitely learn a lot about each other. I go to a competition and I'm very tunnel visioned. I'm very focused on myself. And I imagine a lot of other athletes are the same. So this is a great opportunity for us to get to know each other a bit better as well, on both teams, right? And so I think that it's going to be really exciting. And you have a lot of athletes that do a lot of individual sports, and there's a certain amount of pressure that goes with that. When you join team, there's of course still a certain amount of pressure, wanting to perform for each other, but there's also, you can relax a little bit, you can actually breathe, you can let go. And so when an athlete lets go, like, anything's possible. And I think we definitely have a great lineup that's going to allow us to achieve our goal.
And yeah, excellent. And that's, of course, is only half of the lineup for the world roster. And we have saved the men from the world for last, because it's gonna be different than what was expected prior to the games for a variety of different reasons. In the other 3 instances, all of the athletes who were previously announced are actually going to be competing in Huntington Beach. And in this instance, none of the men who were announced prior to the games are going to be competing there for a variety of different reasons. So I'm not even sure to what extent you guys know who the 4 men are going to be on this team. But we're going to unveil them all here now. And so the was obviously not voted upon because it wasn't an option at the time. But PC, do you have the men's male captain for the world ready to go?
You mean this guy?
This guy. Pat, you got a big smile on your face. What do you think?
I love BKG. This will be a good time. Anytime you have a competition with BKG, it's I don't know what's going to happen out there competition wise, but it's going to be a fun week.
And obviously his credentials speak for themselves. 11 times consecutively as an individual games athlete, twice on the podium, 2-time champion in Europe, great average finish at the games. And, you're going to have to go head to head against him at some point. He's not here to join us today, but kind of the same question we asked the girls. What would you love to see or not see in a, one-on-one showdown with BKG?
What would I love to not see with BKG? I think I can handle the smoke right now from BK. I think you could put almost anything up there, and I'll take him down.
That's perfect.
It'll depend if they make it synchro. It'll depend if Tia can keep up.
We're gonna clip that first thing and send it to him so that he's extra motivated to take you down.
Good.
Well, I think he might be calling in right now. Not just kidding.
Good. Tell him I still haven't started training yet. I probably won't. Now that I know it's him, I probably won't for another 2 weeks.
Boom. Whatever.
Well, his joining him on the team again. Do you guys know who the rest of this team is going to be? Pat,
No, because that's a different captain, right? From what it was.
No, because all the rest of the people are different now, right? I don't think we know any of the roster.
Before
But
we
we knew one.
I could make some guesses if
Right?
BK's the captain. Did he get to pick the whole roster?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Never mind.
Team choice.
Yeah, Tia probably can fill us in a little bit. Yeah, but
Tia picked the whole roster.
Yeah, before we move on to the whole roster, though, DB, you were actually teammates with BKG at Fifth Fest this past year, were you not?
Yeah,
Can you,
and it was.
can you give us some insight on him as a teammate and him being as a team?
Yeah, I mean, he's so fun. Like, just saying, like, it's going to be such a fun weekend with him. I'm almost jealous that he's on their team just because of the good time they're going to have. But I think he's great. He's a great addition. I think you can't really, I mean, me personally, I can't really think of one thing that he's really bad at or, like, I think he's just so well-rounded. I think, he goes with the flow. I think he's a great team addition. I don't know that he's going to have, like, the most input when it comes to what to do as a team, because that's kind of how he was at FitFest. But he'll go with the flow. He'll do whatever you tell him. So
I can boss him around and he'll listen.
yeah, I think he's really down for whatever. I don't know. I think he wants to win, but I think he just wants to have a good time. Which
it's definitely nice to have and it's really
result.
nice to have a teammate that's so versatile like that you can kind of use as needed, depending on what the rest of the makeup of the team looks like. And the next member of the male world team that we're going to introduce is he's kind of unique relative to the rest of the rosters because he represents a part of the world that is yet to be represented on any of these teams.
Pat,
Brian, I was just going to unveil the team.
Oh, okay. You want to do it all together, Pat?
Yeah, we'll just.
I don't care. You can do one at a time.
We'll just do it. Just tear the Band-Aid off, right?
Oh, I guess PC is going to show us all 3 of the remaining men on the team at once, and this will be interesting.
All right, we're going to tear the Band-Aid off.
All right.
Boom!
Whoa!
Oh, they put Brent on world. See what the hell?
What?
Look, Pat, we just didn't want you, all right?
Oh, that's funny. All right.
It's because we're in Quebec.
And I think I have a theory why Brent is on the world team, and maybe Tia can help me out with this as well. Brent actually lived in Australia, so maybe that counts.
Yeah, he also actually turned down our request. So
yeah,
He wanted to be on World.
Oh, so that's the story.
Team World.
I was trying to
And
cover it up.
he's an adopted Australian. It's only fitting.
So, as I was kind of queuing up there, obviously we have Guy Mayeros on this team. He's going to be representing South America, which I think is great to have a representative from a really strong CrossFit community there. And Tia, maybe kind of like I was saying, opposite of BKG, Guy's a guy that when certain workouts come up, you're going to feel really confident slotting him in.
Yep. Yeah, obviously super strong. But I think each individual here on the men's side just offers something unique. Like Danielle said it when she was like analyzing our ladies. She feels like she has a wide variety. Everyone complements each other, and I think that was also taken into consideration when we were, working out who was going to be Team World. And obviously, like there's been a few changes to the men's side, but these athletes here are definitely going to put on a good show, and we're going to have a lot of fun for sure with each individual.
So, we do see Brent Fikowski here, and Pat, like you said, you've got some experience going against him. Now that he's on the opposite or competing with him, now that he's on the opposite team, what's the conversation going to be like running up to this?
Well, I'm going to tell everybody on my team where his soft spots are.
So like the
Then
notebook.
we're going to take him down. He's a turncoat. He's a turncoat. We don't deal with traitors.
Mate, have you seen the way he skis? You got nothing on him.
Dallin Pepper.
Yeah, didn't Dallin beat him in the swim ski?
Dallin is too young. He's too young. He doesn't have the experience.
Yeah, well,
No, I think he has the experience. I think Brent looked really tired on the last day at the games. I think he's
bring
getting
some
old.
oil. Bring some oil for those knees.
Talk about those thrusters, all right?
No, I think that's going to be super fun. That team actually looks awesome. And this is the thing about this style of event. Like, we don't know with all the mix and match and like, team of 3, then teams of like 2 men, 2 women. Like, there's so much unpredictability of like where people are going to shine and where you're going to insert players. So like that roster could combine for like really deadly, unbeatable teams in certain contexts, right? So like we don't know until we see what the workouts are. But that's like, yeah, like a guy like Guy, a guy like Brent, like all of them, like BK will plug any hole you have. Like they're gonna be good. So it'll be fun, and it's fun that it's all like I love that we know Brent really well. So me and Jeff were with him on a team recently, and I was on a team with BK recently. Like we know what they're like, so they'll be competitive and it'll be super fun. It's gonna be like, I think it'll be a lot of fun banter, and the event will be very, very fun.
Do you guys already have your training schedule ready and actionable?
Yeah, Brent probably emailed yours out this morning, right?
Yeah, we're coming down to everyone's coming to Nashville, and we've got a massive training week over the next like 6 weeks, so we're coming in ready.
Well,
hey, DB lives in Nashville, so
yeah, we got our spy.
Sorry,
we got our spy.
That's okay.
And when you round out the team with Anyola Kai, it's similarly to rounding out the women's side of the world team with Grace Walton. It's a games rookie who's on the come up. She's had her best year. And for games historians out there, and some of you, Tia and Pat, you guys may recall some of this. If you go back, I think it was 2013 Invitational, the U.S. roster was pretty much, in most people's mind, unbeatable. And the world roster was full of a few unknown or relatively unknown names. And when the dust settled after a 2-hour competition, the world roster stood victorious.
I remember. Back then, Canada was on the world, though.
Well, it turns out they're divided at this point in history.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We got both the Quebecois. We got both the Quebecois on world side, or on North America side, which is weird, but whatever. We'll take it. I love it. I think it's gonna be awesome. I'm looking forward to this. And look, I know we've a lot of us have said like, oh, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I look at those rosters and everybody is like so competitive. So I'm like, I say that and I know it's gonna be like people will be like doing everything they can and will die to take down the other teams. So I think it's gonna be really fun to see how it plays out.
Well, I think one thing, and I don't know if you athletes are thinking about this, but the winning team, it's almost a double the prize purse. So
Yeah.
added incentive there too. So it might come down to that last event, and just all friendliness.
Captain's challenge.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
so
Uh-oh.
I
Danny,
hope that's the case.
hey, get away from the beach and go to the gym. We're gonna start training.
Right when I get back. Don't worry. Don't worry.
We want to see a captain's training montage between the two of you sometime in the next 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
You
The
should have seen my
showdown.
last 2 weeks. Should have that montage.
We
The
have it
weight
already.
Yeah.
shoulders is heavy right now.
We're gonna take the best footage we can find of BKG and pair it up with Pat doing cannonballs into the lake with his son.
Uh,
All right. Well, those are the rosters. They're out on paper. Everyone can see them now. I think maybe we'll give each of you kind of a last say, and then I'll let you guys get on with your day. Tia, on behalf of the world and the other 7 members of your team, how would you like to close it out here?
yeah, I mean, we're gonna come in ready, and you guys, your hats are gonna be blown off.
Well, yeah, no doubt about it. It's going to be a really fun team to watch. It's going to be a fun team to train with, and they also happen to have you, who is the best you've ever seen and a great leader to have in your corner. So I know that you've always got a lot going on, and we really appreciate you spending some time, with us and talking so highly of your teammates.
Of course, no, anytime. Thanks, guys.
Danielle, last thoughts before we let you go back to your sun tanning session?
Yes. I'm just really excited to get together as a team in California. I think the vibes will be really good. I'm excited to see what Wodapalooza can do and give us a really cool competition. Yeah, I have a lot of. I'm excited. I think they can really bring something really cool together, and I'm glad I get to be a part of it for the first time. And yeah, my whole team. I'm excited to see everyone.
And Pat, obviously, we know you're ready to go. You're strapped in with your seatbelt on there. But last thoughts before you are on your way?
Yeah, I'm ready to drive into a brick wall.
Anything to win.
Yeah, I'm gonna send my whole roster the video of the 2013 Invitational as homework. They will watch that, and then yeah, it's gonna be. I'm pumped. I think Danielle's right. Like this format, this thing, it's new. It's gonna be something special, and I think I'm really excited to see how it comes together. And I think I've done the Invitational twice. Like Tia's done it before. Those events with just that kind of, it's different. It's not your like individual pride. It's this team pride and this sort of different level of stakes. They're so fun, and the matchups format is going to be so fun. So I'm keen to get going. We're gonna fire each other up, and we'll get some banter going over the next 3 weeks or so to get everybody involved. But yeah, the squad will be ready. Don't you worry about us.
Okay. Well, we're all looking forward to it. Thank all 3 of you again for taking the time. Great, obviously, representatives for each of your teams, and looking forward to seeing you guys in Huntington Beach.
Yeah, thanks
Thanks
guys.
for having us on. We're pumped.
Thank you guys.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. Well, thank you to the 3 of them for taking time to do that with us today. I do think it's cool that the way the rosters have filtered out, clearly the men for the world is different than what we were expecting to see. But at this point in the sport, there's so much depth and so much talent that there's plenty of options that you can choose from and still have, great athletes, a good combination of athletes that they were referring to with these different kind of formats that TYR Wodapalooza is going to have. And ultimately, I mean, I really do think that 2013 Invitational resonates in my mind, that like, just because something looks one way on paper does not mean, especially in a format like this, that's how it's going to play out.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell the excitement from the athletes, especially when Tia came on. There was a kind of a little, I don't know. It was just really cool, and the format. I really like the format where it kind of highlights the team aspect, the different skills. I mean, some strategy. I think that'll be the cool part, especially when you have someone like Vikowski, who's very precise, and everything has to be exact with him. I think that'll be really interesting to see that. And I just you kind of mentioned like the behind the scenes miking up. I think that's going to be some really cool stuff, like unlike we've seen before. Because I mean, I guess you could talk about the invitational, but I think the atmosphere at this is going to just be a little bit different than that.
Oh yeah, I mean that was over a decade ago. So there,
Mhm.
and the invitational was very cool back then. Um, I think that one was in Europe, uh, but it was a 2 hour event. The Tier Cup this year is 3 2 hour events, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's a little bit of an evolution there. In the promo, we just had Tommy explaining, that you guys have seen throughout the summer, that there's going to be a variety of different formats within the event where sometimes you'll see 1-on-1 matchups, 2-on-2, 3v3, all hands, captains. And in what order, we don't know yet. What those workouts look like, we're going to start to get some of those in the upcoming week. I think that TYR Wodapalooza is partnering with Get With The Programming for those. So there'll be plenty of opportunity to kind of break them down, preview what potential matchups could look like, where the strengths and the weaknesses of different teams might lie. Barbell Spin is doing a show next Wednesday like they usually do, and this is going to be a feature of that show to kind of look at the rosters now that we know them all, look at the workouts that we know up to that point, and kind of project forward a little bit. And so it's not just that, TYR Wodapalooza has brought together some of the best athletes from around the world. They're also leaning into a variety of different media partners to help build some momentum and hype for this thing. And I think my favorite part about that the show that we just did was just the back and forth, to be able to see that. Like I don't know if many people realize that Pat and Tia have that kind of relationship, but I mean they've been competing at the same competitions for a decade, so it shouldn't be surprising that they're comfortable kind of trading verbal blows like that.
Oh yeah, certainly, and it's kind of like a preview of things to come because obviously we're going to be there. Hopefully we'll be able to capture some of those moments, have those moments with you to kind of capture with that. I mean, it's really cool. I mean, it's very unique for us to have that many athletes on. That's the first time we've had, I think, that many athletes on at the same time for a little bit of that crosstalk. And I think it worked out great, and it's kind of like a preview of what we're probably going to see at TYR SoCal. And yeah, that's just really cool. Your first, let's just take a look at the rosters here. What's your first take? Just looking at the rosters, first take.
First take is that I think the North America team is a favorite on paper.
Yeah.
But I think that some of the athletes on the world team are going to come in really motivated by that. I've already spoken with Aniol, and he's like, dude, this is such a cool opportunity, and I'm pumped for it. I know that you've had similar conversations with Sahar over the last month or so since we found out she was going to be able to do this. I think that for someone like the advantage, one of the advantages I see on the world team is just that they have BKG and Tia to lead a little bit with a kind of an unparalleled level of experience between the two of them. And then you have you have some really difficult athletes to beat in isolation when certain things come up in Guy and Brent. So they're even though Pat says Dallon's going to beat him on this and that, whatever, like those two guys, when you get the right events, are pretty tough to beat. And I think also I think Tia said it, or maybe it's DB. DB, yeah. Like Emma Tall is definitely an underrated athlete in general in this sport. We didn't get to see her at the games this year, but at semifinals she was obviously super impressive. And I would not be surprised if the world, even if they don't end up winning, if they surprise in a few of the events.
Yeah, the one thing, and I know this is kind of like a consequence of what happened at the games, but one thing that was originally planned, I think, was a swim event, and because Tier elected not to have a swim event, just in respect, and just the just because it just wasn't I don't. It wasn't probably an appropriate time to have athletes get back in the water. But if they would have kept the swim event, having someone like Tia, Emma, Gracie, and Sahar, who are all strong swimmers
Brent.
on their loans, that would have been. And you got Fikowski. I mean, an event like that, if they would have kept it in. Who knows what it would have been, what it might have looked at. But that would have been at least one event. I think that would have probably went to the world side on that if there was some type of swimming event. But so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But like I said, my first, my first reaction is kind of similar to yours. Just like on paper, just North America just looked really good. But
our Roman sums it up well. The North American team is very well rounded. Team World has a lot of specialists, and in a format like this, you don't necessarily know where that's going to, how that's going to play out.
Yeah, and some of these athletes, they for whatever reason they didn't elect to compete at the games, so it's kind of an unknown coming in. I mean, obviously we have less than a month, 6 weeks maybe.
No, less than a month, right? It's the 23rd, and TYR Cup starts on the 20th. So
so less than a month for them to prepare. I know a lot of athletes are starting to hit the gym this week, especially a lot of these athletes on these rosters here. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I'm not going to bury Team World right now, not at all. I mean,
and you have, like you mentioned, these athletes like Adler, Guy, Emma, even Ariel, who didn't finish out the games, maybe they haven't had those 2 weeks off. Maybe they've just kind of gone back into training and they're kind of eager to ramp up to something. And so, they're split between the two teams, but you may see, we know that in general, outside of the CrossFit Games, for a majority of competitions, not everyone is peaking perfectly for those competitions.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, we may see a variety of that, where some athletes are kind of just coming back into it. Like Pat said, he's kind of done nothing the last 2 weeks. Or where, some of these others, maybe they've just kind of been training through this last couple of weeks and will have an opportunity to peak for this event. So there's definitely some unknown variables in that regard as well.
Yeah. And a lot of people probably like what Brent Fikowski on the world team. And, I think the reason why is, again, like Tia mentioned, the original selections for whatever reasons, whether it be personal, obviously we know about Lazar. But there's
and Ricky's ankle was clearly, he heard it at the games. Everybody knows that. And it makes sense that he wants to try to get back to full health, and, flying back over here and doing that could be a risk. So.
Yeah. I thought he hurt his ankle getting down on one knee.
Oh, that was.
For those that know, Ricky,
I liked watching that. I liked watching that video. He, because he looked a little just like that goofy side of Ricky while he was doing it, which I really loved.
Yeah, but and there were some other athletes, that just because they didn't really plan on competing at this, they made other plans. So, other athletes from Europe that represent the world, you're probably wondering why the Yellow Hostas, Yonakoskis, et cetera. Some of those other athletes aren't represented. It's just life. Sometimes life gets in the way. It's. But
the one thing that we know from working with the team at the TYR Wodapalooza and Loud and Live is that they have been, and it should be pretty clear to anyone who's following along on social media as well, that they've been investing a ton into building this up and making this great. And all of the questions that you may have about why not this person, why not that person, like they've had all those conversations, whether it's internally with those athletes, with the representatives, the original representatives that were selected. And the process of arriving at this was it wasn't random, it wasn't accidental, it wasn't with disregard to other people. And then here's the teams that we have, and I think that the athletes spoke really well of it, and you guys in the comments are also making some great remarks about each of these athletes and why they have a lot to bring to the table for their respective teams.
Yeah, I like what Roman says. Annual is cool. I can do some trash talk. As he's gotten better at his English, yeah, he definitely has. And there's a couple comments here I saved. Okay, it's just we kind of talked about this, Sarah, in terms of the international athlete. I kind of disagree. It's not really lame. I mean, at the end of the day, the best athletes available are competing there. I do wonder if Brent would have finished ahead of Dallin at the games, if Dallin would have ended up on Team World.
I don't know about that. That's a good question.
Yeah, exactly. Leah Frazier, will this be live on YouTube? There's a couple questions regarding the broadcast. Um, you know, as far as we know, it will be streamed live on the Loud and Live Wodapalooza YouTube channel. So and there's a couple questions in terms of our level of involvement. TBD. What we've heard and what we've discussed with the Loud and Live people. I just know you guys are going to like the broadcast team. You're going to like everything that comes out. Everyone's going to have a fun time. So I wouldn't worry about that. And whatever's shown on YouTube, it will be just something great. The Loud and Live people, they've been doing this for a while. Dylan, he knows what he's doing. Let's see. Are the events going to be live streamed? We already answered that. And there was that questions involved in the broadcast. So
yeah, there TYR Wodapalooza Loud and Live, they'll make all those announcements in the run up to the competition. And like PC said, it's gonna be good. It's a great cast of people that's competing, and there'll be a similarly talented group of people that are representing them through the broadcast.
And I'm good with that as long as Brent has to speak French the whole time.
Oh my goodness.
Our buddies at Rep's Head looking fresh today. Thank you. I got a haircut yesterday. Standard military haircut. Speaking of Wodapalooza, again, there's plenty of tickets available in packages. If you go to I'll pull that up. If you go to the Wodapalooza website, you'll get more information on TYR Cup. They're still looking for some volunteers. Travel, if you're looking for a hotel or anything like that, partners, and then under tickets, there are some of the VIP packages available. The longer you wait, the higher the prices go up. So I think there might be in phase 2 of the ticket pricing. So get them while they last, especially those quality tickets that are out there. Also, if you click on their bio at the stream, the links above, it'll take you to this page. And as you can see, the Lazar Jukic Fund is the top block there. Lazar was one of, if not, I believe, was the first TYR athlete that TYR signed to a contract, and he was really involved. I know the TYR group. We both know the TYR group very personally, and they're really struck by that. And if you click on that, you'll see the Lazar Jukic Fund. I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing some things to honor Lazar. And if you click on the Jukic Fund, it'll take you straight to the GoFundMe, which yesterday it was over 505,000. Now it's at 508. So if you feel compelled, please donate. And again, it helps out the Jukic family.
Yep.
I hate this whenever I click on like the Instagram and we're not following them. I don't understand this. I feel like such a dick. So, for real live people, my bad. That's on me. I hate it, especially when I bring up their profiles. So, yeah, Brian, any other, anything else you want to talk about regarding TYR Wodapalooza SoCal?
No, I think it's going to be a really fun weekend. As we referred to, TYR, they've been putting a ton of resources in this. The crew at Loud and Live has been working hard all summer long to try to coordinate program design. And it's not just the TYR Cup that'll be the nightcap every day out there, but they have these 20 plus community divisions that people will be competing in a really cool environment. We've got a chance to see kind of what the layout of the entire area is going to look like. It's going to be a really fun place to be. And I think today what we got to see was just the ambiance of the athletes, that they have a great kind of joking, jovial personalities, and that will be certainly taking place. I think what Pat said, if there's a way to get some kind of behind the scenes of that, mic up a couple of the athletes maybe, would be a really cool thing to kind of supplement what's going on there. But when it comes time to compete, we know that all of these athletes will put the head down, go to work, and like Pat said, do what it takes to try to get the W for their team. So both on and off the field of play, I think it's gonna be a good weekend for the athletes and therefore also for the fans.
Yeah, 100%. Again, I think they're in their tier 2 in terms of ticket pricing. They have, once again, it's just not the TYR Cup. It's got 20 divisions, I believe. It's going to be a community affair right there in beautiful Huntington Beach. From what I've heard, they've spent a lot of money to make this just seem very Southern California, but at the same time keep the ambiance and the tradition of Wodapalooza that they have in Miami, bringing it to the West Coast, but with the West Coast feel. No doubt we'll be seeing a lot of montage videos with a lot of Biggie, with some Tupac and Dre, California Love at some point.
This
Yeah.
question about the programming, not entirely sure. I do know that Get With The Programming is going to be involved with some of the programming release, and so they may end up having a better insight into that when they do those shows. So maybe you can ask those guys when they do them. But I know that it's something that they've been planning. The programming has been in the works for several months. So
yeah. So the workout releases kick off on Monday, August 27th for all the divisions. And like Brian alluded to, on Wednesday, August 28th, Spin and his crew over there, John Young and Tyler, will be doing some analysis of their own and workout matchups and kind of playing around with that. We'll be doing the same thing. We'll try to bring some of those teammates on, some of those athletes on that we didn't get to interview. Maybe we could bring BKG on by himself. Maybe you can bring him, Brent, on or something like that. But we'll try to bring some of those athletes on as we get closer to the event, which is less than a month away. So I had a fun time. That was a cool show. It's, again, like Brian stated, that was the first time Tia has appeared on our show, only the second time DB. We've had Velner on, I think, a number of times, but to have all three of them collectively makes it kind of special. And that just shows what kind of event this is going to be. A very special event, something that I think that, either you're watching, I would highly stress you to show up in person. I'm going to travel from Germany all the way there just to watch it. Obviously, I have some vested interest in it, but I mean, I still want to just be a part of that event. So if you feel so compelled, I was looking at flights. Flights aren't that bad, actually. So take a look at those flights, buy some tickets, show up for the event, support our friends at Loud and Live, support our friends at TYR. And hey, thanks for supporting us. Brian, have anything to say before we end this rather short show for us, actually?
No, it was super fun. Appreciate you guys being here, interacting with the athletes, asking some good and relevant questions. And I think it's going to be a great event. As far as B.Friendly is concerned, as I mentioned at the start, it'll be the fourth stop on our post-games tour, BCS Classic. I'm actually starting that live stream in less than 2 hours from now. So you guys can see one of the oldest or longest running community events throughout the next 2 days if you want to on our YouTube channel. I'll be in Finland next week. I'll be in Serbia the week after that, not for a competition, but just to hang out and visit with some friends over there. And then we have one competition in North Carolina before SoCal. So if you like watching CrossFit on a weekly or mostly weekly basis, you know where to go.
Yeah. Thanks again, everyone. And it's a Friday. So just like every day, be friendly,